Story 1. Jason comes back, but not the way Britt expected. Let us start with Jason because, honey, this storyline is layered in ways that are going to take your breath away when it all comes together. Here is what we know. Jason came back to Port Charles not with a big announcement, not with a grand return that the whole town could witness and celebrate, but quietly, privately, almost like a man who was not sure what kind of welcome he deserved or even wanted. The only two people who knew he was back right away were Danny and Tracy. Danny actually stumbled across him by chance, standing out on the dock near the Coeur d'Alene boathouse. Tracy found him the same way, unexpectedly, without any fanfare. There was a lot of explaining that needed to happen in those first conversations, and Jason did his best. But rather than making the rounds and letting Port Charles know he had returned, he made a choice that told you everything about where his head was. He took Danny and left for a short father-son trip, asking Tracy to quietly let Alexis know they were fine and would be back soon. Now they are back, and the reckoning is beginning. Because while Jason was away healing with his son, everyone else in his life was left completely in the dark. Nobody knew he had returned. Nobody got a phone call, a message, anything. And when word starts spreading through Port Charles that Jason has actually been back for over a week already, without reaching out, the reactions are going to run the full emotional spectrum. Britt is going to be one of those reactions. And based on what we are seeing, it is not going to go the way she has been imagining. Picture this. Britt is at the hospital in her white doctor's coat, doing what she does, probably carrying the quiet hope that has been building in her ever since she heard Jason was on his way home. And then Jason walks through those doors. He does not look like a man rushing toward a reunion. He does not look like someone who has been counting the minutes until he could see her again. The expression on his face is closer to dread than joy. Meanwhile, Britt is grinning, expecting him to close the distance between them fast, arms open, relief pouring out, picking up exactly where they left off. That is not what happens. Jason is likely there for a medical checkup, which is completely understandable given everything his body has been through. He sat on that plane next to Tristan the whole way home and still never got properly examined. Anyone who saw the state Jason was in during those flashback sequences, the beatings, the trauma, the physical toll of everything that happened to him in that WSB facility, knows that he needs proper medical attention. Tristan, being a heart surgeon, may consult on certain things given what he apparently knows about Jason's history. But Britt, as an OB/GYN, would not be the one running his tests. Which means even the practical reason for his hospital visit is not going to bring them back together the way she is hoping. And beneath all of that, there is something deeper going on with Jason that deserves to be said with care and honesty. What Jason went through in that facility was not just physically brutal. There are very strong implications that the abuse he suffered was profound in ways that go beyond broken bones and bruised skin, trauma that cuts into a person's sense of self, their identity, their ability to feel safe in their own body. That kind of experience does not just disappear because you are finally home. It follows you. It sits in the room with you. It changes the way you relate to people, especially in moments of closeness and vulnerability. So when you watch Jason keeping his distance from Britt, when you see that guardedness in him, understand that it is not simply coldness. It is a man who has been through something shattering trying to figure out how to put himself back together, and doing it in the only way that feels honest to him right now. He is not ready for romance. He may not be ready for a long time. And the most important thing to him in this moment, the one relationship he is determined to protect and repair above all others, is the one he has with Danny. He has learned something hard and real from all of this. When you are a father, your children come first.
Not a job.
Not a mission. Not a relationship. Your children. Britt deserves compassion in this moment too, because she has been waiting and hoping and holding on to something real. But Jason is returning as a fundamentally different person than the one who left. And sometimes love is not enough to bridge that kind of distance, especially when one person is still in the middle of finding their way back to themselves. There are quiet whispers too that Britt may find an unexpected connection with Tristan. Two people both circling the edges of Jason's world, both carrying their own complications. It would not be the most surprising turn this show has ever taken. One door closes very gently. Another one may be opening. Curtis, Portia, and a request nobody saw coming. Now let us shift to something that is a little bit of everything all at once, sweet and awkward and emotionally complicated in that specific way that General Hospital does so beautifully when it wants to. Portia has had her baby. Baby boy Robinson Ashford is here, healthy, and today is the day they get to go home. That is a joyful thing. That is a miracle wrapped in a blanket. And Curtis is there because of course he is, because this is his child, and no matter what the state of things between him and Portia, nothing in the world was going to keep him from being present for this. But then Curtis does something that is either incredibly sweet or incredibly bold, depending on how you look at it. He looks at Portia holding their newborn son, their baby's very first night home coming up, and he asks if maybe he could stay too. Oh, Curtis. Now look, from a purely emotional standpoint, you absolutely understand the impulse. This is his son. This is a once-in-a-lifetime moment. The idea of going back to an empty place while Portia takes their child home for the first time is genuinely painful. So the heart of what Curtis is asking makes complete sense. But the situation is considerably more complicated than pure emotion. Portia has moved on. She has someone in her life, Isaiah, and depending on how things have unfolded, he may not have even had the chance to meet this baby yet. So Curtis walking in and asking to spend the night is not a small request. It is the kind of request that lands in the middle of a room and makes everyone suddenly very aware of exactly how messy and human this all is. Here is the thing though, General Hospital spoilers are telling us that Portia is going to surprise Curtis. Which means the answer may not be the flat rejection you might expect. Whether she says yes, whether she finds some kind of middle ground, whether this becomes the beginning of something shifting between them again, that we will have to watch and find out. Elsewhere, Lulu and Dante are having their own deeply felt conversation, most likely still working through everything surrounding Charlotte and what is best for her right now. Lulu seems noticeably calmer than she was before, which is something. But she admits to Dante that she knows what she has to do. She just is not sure she has the strength to actually do it. And anyone who has been watching knows how hard that tension is for Lulu. She is a mother who is terrified of losing her children. But her fear is doing the opposite of keeping them close. It is pushing them away one difficult moment at a time. Michael gets caught off guard in his own corner of Port Charles, most likely crossing paths unexpectedly with Jordan. The two of them fall into conversation, and it sounds like the accident on Route 91 comes back up, that night, that crash, all the things that came from it. Curtis comes up too, given that he works alongside Michael. And Michael asks Jordan something pointed, whether she has any regrets. The look on her face says she has quite a few. Over at the interrogation room, Jack is giving Anna something to chew on. He tells her that Jason did not fire the shot on Pier 55 that night. Anna pushes back immediately, wanting to know how Jack can be so certain. What Jack knows, and what he may or may not choose to share with Anna, is that it was Rocco who pulled that trigger. Jack already knew this, and kept it to himself. He protected Rocco in his own way, just as Jason protected him in a completely different way. But Anna is sharp and driven, and she is not going to let this go easily. Jack may end up warning her to step back from certain things that reach deeper than local law enforcement territory. And then there is Valentine and Carly, sitting in her kitchen with the weight of that black box sitting between them. Carly wants to know what stops someone dangerous from simply taking the box and eliminating Valentine the moment he hands it over. It is a fair question. It is actually the most important question. Valentine has a plan, but whether the plan holds together under pressure is another matter entirely. And there is a strong hint that very bad news is coming about that box, possibly that whatever was inside it has been destroyed. If that is true, it changes the entire dynamic of who holds power and who is left exposed. Charlotte's crush is heading somewhere dangerous. And now, saving what may be the most emotionally charged story for last, let us talk about Charlotte. Charlotte is a Cassadine. That means she is smart. She is calculating when she wants to be, and when she sets her sights on something, she does not let go easily. Right now, the thing she has set her sights on is Gio. And everyone around her should be paying very close attention, because this is not going to end gently. It started simply enough. Gio was kind to Charlotte at the Metro Court pool. He gave her a sympathetic ear when she needed one, listened to her, made her feel seen and heard in a moment when she was dealing with a lot. And for Charlotte, That was enough to flip something inside her completely. She is not looking at Gio the way she used to anymore. The older brother energy she once saw in him has been replaced entirely by something much more intense. What followed was Charlotte in full flirtation mode, and she was not subtle about it. She used every opportunity to put herself near him. When Lulu pulled her away, Charlotte turned that into another chance to get closer. When the conversation with her mother about living arrangements ended badly, Charlotte went right back to Gio for comfort. She is using her own pain and her own drama as tools to build closeness with him, and she is doing it in a way that feels very familiar to anyone who has watched Charlotte navigate situations before. The problem, and it is a real one, is that Gio has absolutely no idea any of this is happening. Gio is a good person. He is warm and caring, and he genuinely sees himself as a big brother figure to Charlotte. He is being kind to her, because that is just who he is. He is not reading anything else into it. He does not see what Charlotte sees when they talk. And that gap between what Charlotte believes is happening and what is actually happening is the foundation for everything that is about to go wrong. Because then Emma showed up. Emma arrived and kissed Gio right there, and Charlotte had to stand there and watch it. And the look on Charlotte's face was something else entirely. This was not the mild disappointment of a teenager who has a little crush. This was something rawer and more possessive than that. Real jealousy. Real anger. The kind that does not stay quiet. Here is what makes this genuinely worrying rather than just dramatic teenage storyline territory. Charlotte is a Cassadine. She has gone to extraordinary lengths before when she felt threatened or pushed out of something she wanted. She has targeted people who stood in the way of what she was after. She has caused real damage in the process and ended up hurt herself, seriously hurt. The pattern is there. And, right now, she is heading straight toward it again. Gio is never going to see Charlotte the way she sees him. That is simply the truth of this situation. He cares about her the way an older sibling cares about a younger one. Nothing more. Charlotte either cannot see that or refuses to. And whatever she decides to do next, however she decides to try to pull Gio away from Emma or make herself more essential to him, it is going to backfire. There is also the Valentine angle sitting quietly underneath all of this. Valentine is Charlotte's father, and Valentine is the kind of man who protects what is his with extreme prejudice. The moment he gets wind of Charlotte developing real feelings for an older guy, feelings that are clearly not being returned and that are making his daughter reckless and heartbroken, Gio is going to find himself in a very uncomfortable position through absolutely no fault of his own. Charlotte deserves compassion here too, underneath all of it. She is a teenager who has been through enormous upheaval, who is looking for connection and stability in all the wrong places. But compassion does not mean letting her run unchecked towards something that is going to hurt her and potentially hurt others along the way. This story is just beginning, and it is going to be one of the most emotionally turbulent rides of the summer.